There's some advice that's been going around Western culture for many decades today that I think has proven to be very destructive advice. It seems reasonable, it seems nice, it seems so, wow, that sounds really good, but it's not really that good of advice. And the advice is this, that you should always be honest with how you feel, particularly in marriage. In your relationships, the most important thing is that you're honest with how you feel. The problem is our feelings can change dramatically. Well, how you feel today, forget today, how you feel right now could change in an hour or two. There's no reason to be honest with the most dishonest part of us. And quite frankly, the most dishonest part of us is our feelings. People who would normally be nice and considerate in situations, in relationships as close as marriage, feel obligated because of all this advice of be honest with how you feel. Every little thing that comes into their heads, they just emotionally vomit all over each other, and it becomes very, very destructive. My wife and I just celebrated our 42nd wedding anniversary. People often ask me, man, how have you been married for 42 years? And I always say it's because we're not honest with how we feel. It sounds like it's such good, really is not good advice. I get it. We all have our issues we need to wrestle through from time to time. But to just spit out of your mouth every emotion that has you up, down, and in between is not helpful. I'm sure there's mornings my wife looks at me and is convinced she's been blessed by God. I'm sure there's mornings she wakes up, looks at me, and feels like she married the spawn of hell. You know, we all have our days, right? But all I need to hear from her is good morning. I don't need to hear every single emotion that is going through her head. And she doesn't need to hear everything that's flying through mine. I think this idea of constantly spitting out every little thing that you're feeling at any given time is not particularly helpful. You just got to ask yourself, is this really being all that helpful? The truth is, in most relationships, we would never just tell everybody everything that we're thinking. You see someone who's really ugly, you don't walk up to him and go, man, you sure are ugly. It might be true, but it's not very nice. It can be very destructive. Your boss is doing something you think is really stupid. You probably don't raise your voice and say, boy, you're being stupid, because you'll wind up getting fired. There's certain amounts of control that we have over our emotions. And I really think that some of the best things that people could do in their marriage is to be a little careful about the words that come flying out of their mouths. The Bible says your mouth has the power of life and death. We need to choose life. Don't be thinking, gee, if I'm going to have a great marriage, I always have to say everything I feel. No, you don't. Because sometimes what we feel can be very destructive. And besides, you might feel in a couple hours totally different than you feel right now. So more than anything, as I've shared before, just be nice to